Hey everyone, it's Ethan or Miist back again for another video today, and welcome back to the channel, guys. We're here again for yet another video. We're going to be talking about every movie and show I watched last week, and let's get into it. Let's start off with the one and only season of TV that I watched last week, which was Stranger Things Season 2, and it's a great season. It's one of my favorites, although I can literally say that about every single season of this show. I'm still kind of a firm believer that this show gets better each season. I'm excited to see how that stacks up while Mel and I finish the rewatch of Season 3, as well as the rewatch of Season 4, then of course the first watch of Season 5. We shall see. So, with that being said, I love this season. I definitely like this season more than Season 1, but as you can see in my review, I justifiably cannot give this a higher rating than the first season because I literally skip episode 7 almost every time I watch this now because I don't like that episode. It's not overly important, I don't think, personally. But yeah, Mel and I skipped it this time because we just weren't feeling it. So yeah, with that being said, let's hop into the movies. Starting it off with my least favorite watch of the week, which was a 2025 release, Eddington, which I ranked at 28 out of 100. I personally really didn't enjoy this movie. This was a really slow and boring movie to me, and there was so much going on. I feel like a lot of it was unexplored. Considering this is a 2.5-hour movie, I don't feel like anything that was introduced in this movie should have been unexplored. But yeah, overall, I just felt like this was too messy and too long. I know a lot of people wouldn't like this or don't like this because of the COVID theme and whatever's literally happening with COVID in this movie. But no, that's definitely not my biggest issue with this movie. But yeah, I just didn't really enjoy this movie, and it's actually one of my least favorites of the year, which I didn't really expect to go into this movie liking it anyways, but I didn't think I was going to dislike it the way I did. So yeah, 28 out of 100. Well, let's move on to quite a big jump up to the Lego Movie 2, the second part, which Mel and I watched both the Lego movies this week, which is something we've been wanting to do, I think, our entire relationship, because I'd seen the Lego movie before, but not the second part, and I don't think Mel had ever seen the second part either, which we both struggled to finish this movie. It was a tough one. I was literally falling asleep watching this movie. I ranked it a 55 out of 100. To be honest, there was a few moments I enjoyed and I chuckled, but this one is insane. All right, let's move on to one of the themes of the week, which was Bad Santa 2 specifically. It is my least favorite of the two, and I ranked this a 57 out of 100. Thought it was okay. There's a couple good laughs, a couple good moments. It just doesn't compare to the first one, really, but yeah, it was fine. And let's move on to another theme of the week, which was Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore, which is my least favorite, of the trilogy, and this is my first time watching any of the Fantastic Beasts films, fun fact, and this is something I've been wanting to watch for years. Every time I rewatch Harry Potter, I want to watch these, and I finally got around to doing it. Mel and I had started the first Fantastic Beasts a couple weeks ago. Anyways, we'll get into that, but yeah, this third one, it's definitely my least favorite of the trilogy. To be honest, I think the other two movies are pretty solid, but this one was okay. It never really feels like Grindelwald is actually a threat to any of our characters, which I feel like for the big portion or a big portion of this trilogy, apart from the first movie, he really doesn't feel like he's actually evil. He just feels like he's a political figure. Where in the first movie he feels a little bit more evil, especially after seeing the actions and that he makes, and then the twist at the end. But yeah, this movie is okay. There's not many secrets of Dumbledore except for the fact that he's gay, but that's not really common knowledge. I feel like some people don't know about that, but yeah, there's not many secrets in this movie. So, anyways, 60 out of 100. Let's move on to finishing off the Cornetto, I believe it's called, the Cornetto trilogy, which is the first time watching these films. I watched Shaun of the Dead a couple weeks ago, and I watched Hot Fuzz and The World's End this week. And The World's End is my least favorite of the trilogy by quite a big margin. I ranked this as 62 out of 100. I thought it was okay. It's a little silly, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like the themes kind of just are right in your face, especially at the end of the movie. But there's definitely some fun moments to it, but it's just my least favorite of the trilogy. 62 out of 100. And let's move on to Violent Night, which is a fun movie. It's a fun action comedy, and there's some good moments in this. Ranked it to 64 out of 100. Seeing the origins of Santa Claus being a badass warrior is kind of fun as well. 1,000+ years ago. I think that's kind of a fun idea. And honestly, I wouldn't mind if this movie actually got like a prequel sequel where it was actually just, him as a warrior and then turns into Santa. That'd be kind of fun. But yeah, decent movie. Ranked at a 64 out of 100. Let's move on to Slumdog Millionaire, which... Oh, fuck. Oh, man. All right, let's move on to Slumdog Millionaire, which is a decent movie. I struggled to stay into it throughout the first half of this movie because it's really gross, kind of similar to some other Danny Boyle films. It's just really gross, as well as the editing. It's very 2000s, and it's hard to watch. It literally just gives me a headache sometimes. The fast cuts in an action sequence, it's just hard to watch. But yeah, it's a decent movie. Ranked it a 66 out of 100. Let's move on to A Whisker Away, which I ranked a 68 out of 100. And this is a decent movie as well. It's kind of cute, but it's also a little psycho at times. Why are we not focused on me? Let me fix that. Sorry. Hopefully that's okay. I don't know what it focused on. Anyways, A Whisker Away is a decent movie. Like I said, ranked at a 68 out of 100. There's some pretty cute moments in this, but it's also a little creepy how obsessed and obsessive Muge is. It could be cute, but I think it's a little bit borderline, and it's a little bit creepy. So, yeah, that's kind of weird. But nonetheless, I still think this is a decent movie. And as far as the Netflix original goes, it's not bad. So, 68 out of 100. Let's move on to Bad Santa, which I ranked to 73 out of 100. And hey, I mean, this is a good movie. I really enjoyed this, to be honest. Far more than I thought I was going to. I laughed a lot, and this was surprisingly funny. This kind of like stupid comedy, but I think the way that a comedy movie can make me laugh is if it's like raunchy comedy. I feel like that's kind of the way for me for some reason. Don't know why, but yeah, this is like a staple of my household every Christmas, and it's just not something I ever actually watched with my parents. And overall, I'm glad I was able to watch it because I did enjoy it. So let's move on to one of the biggest movies of the week, and probably the biggest movie of the year, which is Superman, which I ranked a 75 out of 100, up a lot from a 61 previously. And thinking about it right before recording this video, I was thinking about lowering this to like a very low, good 3.5 stars for me. A 3.5 stars is 70 to 79. So, I was thinking maybe a 71, 72. Decided to leave it for now, but I don't think I'm done rewatching this movie until I settle on a rating. So, who knows? Maybe I'll watch it next year. Not really sure, but actually, I probably will rewatch it next year before Supergirl, but anyways, I enjoyed this a lot more than I remembered, and that surprised me because I didn't think I was really going to enjoy this. I was glad I was able to finally show it to Mel as well, but yeah, I actually had a good time with it, so rank it a 75 out of 100. Let's move on to the Lego Movie, which I have seen before, like I mentioned. I actually seen it while Mel and I were together. We just didn't watch it together. I just watched it myself. And I don't really know why, but yeah, ranked it a 76 out of 100. I think my rating went up from that. I think I had it previously at a 73, but it went up a little bit. I originally had it up at an 80 and a 4-star. Decided to lower it a little bit because I didn't think it was that good, or that great, I guess. So lowered it a little bit, and I feel a little bit more happy with my 76 rating. And overall, I still think it's a good movie, you know? All right, let's move on to Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I rank this as 77 out of 100. All I wrote is that I like it, because it seems like most people don't like this trilogy, these movies. This does seem to be the fan favorite of the trilogy. But yeah, honestly, I enjoyed Colin Farrell. I really enjoyed Newt Scamander as well. I don't know how I feel about the group as a whole, but yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed Newt, and I enjoyed Colin Farrell, and I enjoyed the twist at the end as well, and the reveal. So that was fun. Plus, there's some very awesome beasts, and I do like to see that, because there's many cute beasts throughout this trilogy. Which I didn't even mention, the Sheelan, or the Keelan from the third movie. Anyways, let's move on to Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, which I ranked at 78 out of 100. It is my favorite of the trilogy, and yeah, I think probably my favorite part of this movie was going back to Hogwarts and seeing a very different time of Hogwarts. I really enjoyed that. Some may say it's fan service, but honestly, I didn't really feel like it. I mean, obviously, it's going to be fan service if you're going back to Hogwarts in any capacity, but truthfully, I really enjoyed those scenes, and that was just a good time with me for Lita and Newt when they were younger, when they were students at Hogwarts. I enjoyed that. So 78 out of 100. And let's move on to the top 3 of the week, which, to be fair, none of these are like amazing movies, but I enjoy all 3 of them quite a bit. Starting it off with Black Phone 2, which I ranked an 80 out of 100. It's in the upper half of my 2025 list, but it's not one of my favorites of the year. To be honest, the trailer for this movie scared me a lot more than anything in this movie actually did. And I kind of have a similar thought to how I felt after Weapons from earlier this year. Both of these movies, I really thought I was going to be really scared. I thought I was going to be really scared. And it just kind of turned into like a mystery, thriller, unraveling of, murder mystery or whatever it may be. And that's just kind of what both of those kind of dwindled down to. And I don't think either of them are bad for that. It's just not what I was expecting, so I think I was a little bit disappointed. I'd really like to rewatch both Weapons and Black Phone 2, but yeah, overall, this was just a little disappointing in the scare department. Didn't scare me, but I still enjoyed it, and I loved the frozen lake cabin aesthetic. That was really fun. All right, let's move on to Hot Fuzz, which is hilarious. It's great. It's probably one of my favorite comedies already. I've been thinking about it ever since I watched it a couple days ago, and to be honest, I just really want to rewatch it because this is really great. I wouldn't be surprised if I watched this again and I actually enjoyed it more than Shaun of the Dead. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all, but yeah, I had a great time with this. Love the cast. Shout out Timothy Dalton, not in enough things. And yeah, this is a great movie, and I really enjoyed it. 82 out of 100. Great buddy cop movie that I would recommend to anyone. And then let's move on to my favorite watch of the week, which was Let It Snow, which I know a lot of people don't like this movie, but I had a great time with this movie. It just kind of hit me in the right way. I'm really trying to watch more like Christmas, winter movies this year, and I had a great time watching this as well. And it's my favorite watch of the week. So again, like nothing too special, I guess. Nothing like very high 90s or, whatever it may be. But still, I had a great time with this movie, and I might honestly rewatch it again this holiday season because I'd like to show it to Mel. I did ask her if she wanted to watch it. She said she didn't want to watch it. And then she kind of caught a little bit of the last 15 minutes of it from a distance. And she was like, why are you watching that without me? I'm like, bro, shut up. I asked you to watch this. You said you didn't want to. So I might show her the movie maybe next month. Who knows? But anyways, that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.